What in the world is going on in the world? I'm going to share with you today my perspective and insight on what's going on just collectively as a whole with the planet. And this really isn't scripted, so I have no idea where this is going to go or how long it'll be. I just feel led to share with my heart what's been on my heart and my mind the last few days. And this will take place of my weekly audio that I put out. I don't know about you, but I've had a lot of shifts in perspective recently and a lot of emotions and feeling called to share more. I have been showing up on YouTube again for about a year, almost a year, somewhat consistently, maybe a couple videos a month on average, mostly audio though. Just trying to figure out, my place in the world and what to show up and share on, but not really feeling the drive that I wanted. And I feel like that's changing. So at the time I'm recording this, it's September 15th of 2025. I am going to talk about what happened last week. So if you're watching this at a later date, I feel like this is a significant event and week that we've had that is shifting the planet's consciousness and helping people to awaken. I'm going to share my thoughts on that, and yeah, we'll just see where this goes, because there's a lot that's come to me, a lot of my own growth and perspective shifts, and feeling things that I haven't felt in a long time or ever, and seeing things in a different way. So if that's how you've been feeling, or if you're feeling confused and want some clarity, stick around. I don't even know where to begin. So, September 10th, Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And when I heard his name and people talking about it, I couldn't put together who it was. But when I started looking online and seeing the video clips going around, I was like, oh yeah, I've seen many of those short videos of the campus interviews. And so I was like, oh, okay, I do know who that is. But it wasn't someone I actively followed and knew all about, right? So it's been eye-opening to me just to watch things play out as far as different reactions from people. And a lot of what moved me is a lot of the positive videos and stories I saw shared, and also people's just reactions to feeling something they hadn't felt before around wanting to. The common themes that I'm seeing are speaking up, truth, being able to share and speak, also faith. People feeling called back to God or Jesus or the Bible or church or some kind of connection spiritually, whatever it is, because I think it's a little different for everyone. But I've seen a lot of people sharing that, the event has been a wake-up call for them to maybe seek something different or speak about maybe their true beliefs, whether it be political or religious, or just simply trying to be a better person. I've seen a lot of videos of people who have been agnostic or atheist, wanting to maybe seek out God or something, some kind of higher power. people who have been afraid to say they are a Christian that are coming out and saying they are a Christian. All sorts of things, right, that I've seen. And I don't know if you've watched this or seen this play out. And regardless of a person's beliefs or what they're feeling called to, I think it's a beautiful thing that people can say, I realize I need to speak up or seek something or find something or make a difference in the world. And I think people being called to Jesus is a beautiful thing. I think there can be controversy and religious trauma that really pulls people away from that. At the end of the day, I think you need to go to what you feel called to, and whether it may or may not be Jesus, okay? So I'm not here to tell you what to follow, right? I think the important thing comes back to following your heart and what you feel called to search out or speak up on or learn more about or question, or realizing that maybe the way you saw things isn't the way you see it now, and that's okay. That's actually growth. That doesn't mean you did anything wrong or thought things the wrong way in the past. Anytime we can look at something with a new lens, it's growth. That is your consciousness expanding. So when I say what in the world is going on in the world, I think it is a huge shift in consciousness, because people have been affected by what happened in a way they can't explain. I'm feeling that. I'm seeing a lot of people say that. And it is hard to explain, but I think it's ignited people. I think it's a good thing to see people sharing their faith and seeking out their faith, regardless of what that is, because we're not all going to agree on that, but that's okay. You do you go to what you feel called to. I think it's a good thing. I think it's a tragedy that has ignited something that is bringing more love. That doesn't mean it's going to be an easy road, but I think it's bringing people together. And not everyone will agree with me. There's going to be different perspectives on this, and that's okay. You don't have to agree with me. I already saw that. I made a short 1-minute video the day after the assassination, and I ended up turning my comments off on TikTok because I was like, whoa, I cannot handle the negative comments. I can agree to disagree, but it was like the only comments I were getting were from a hateful place. And I was not in the mood that day. Actually, oh no, that was the day after. The day I posted. So I posted it in multiple places: TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Didn't get any comments on Instagram or Facebook. Low views there, which is fine. I don't care. That's just for the point of the story. YouTube, I got some interesting comments that I tried my best to just respond to. And I think it was later that day or the next morning on TikTok, I was like, I am just not in the mood. Not in the mood. Anyway, where am I going with this? I guess for me, it has been like the last couple years, I haven't wanted to speak up or be as truthful or say certain things because of the types of comments I know I may get. And in the past, I have struggled with people's comments. Whether it's disagreeing, the bullying, mostly the bullying, right? That's the big one. People that are just saying mean bullying type things for no other reason than to just be mean. Those are the ones that really get me, and that is why I turn the comments off on my video. But it did make me regroup and go, okay, can I really start sharing more? Can I still start posting more? Because I'm having things come to me, like things I have felt for years that I need to talk about more or share about more. And then I don't, because I'm like, oh, people aren't going to like this. Some people just aren't this isn't going to go well. And a lot of it is things I have talked about a little bit in the past and touched on in the past. And the response just wasn't great. But I can't say that I gave it enough chance or repetition to really see where it would go. And I'll give you examples in a moment. But first I was just saying, like, for you, if you're someone who's felt led to speak up and share or make content, I hope that you do. I hope that if there's something you're meant to say or meant to share and you haven't yet, I hope you get the courage to do that. Because we do need those voices. We do. And it's okay that not everyone's going to agree with you. And I hope you learn how to navigate the comments. I am working on that. I cannot say I've figured that out yet, but I am working on it. I appreciate the good comments, though. I really do. The pleasant ones, or even just, not that every comment needs to be like supportive and agreeing with me. I think I can handle a different perspective. It's more just the ones that are just being mean or taking things out of context, taking something I say out of context. Well, not everyone's going to interpret what I'm saying the way I intend, so I need to remember that too. But yeah, so some things in the past that I've touched on that didn't really get a good response have been related to leaving religion. So I may start talking about that more again. However, I feel like for some people, like, if that's what you're feeling drawn to, it can be a benefit to you. So I hate to go as far as to say that I'm anti-religion. I'm more about you follow your path. And so I think I have struggled in the past to maybe share my experience with religion and leaving religion in fear of maybe making people who are religious or feel like it's good for them, or just now seeking religion for the first time, that I somehow don't approve. So I think that's something I've had a hard time conveying. I also need to remember that my message is not for everyone. So I've been really moved by all the videos I've seen lately of people going, to a church for a first time, or finding a Bible for the first time, or wanting to learn about Jesus for a first time. And I was like, it was kind of a strange feeling for me to be so happy and excited for these people, because they're on a path, they're learning something, they're growing, they're seeking something, they want to find answers, they want to find more meaning in life. And if they find that by going to a church, like, that's fine. It doesn't mean that I have to do it that way. So that was one thing this past week that really stood out to me, was we can be happy for people in their path, even if we're not doing it the way they're doing it. I think any way you can find a connection to something greater than yourself, whether you want to call it God, the divine, the universe, Jesus, whatever it is, like, just find something that makes you feel alive and connected. And I think whatever you seek, it's going to lead you to your next step. And focusing on love, that's another one that's really come through. I'm seeing a lot more people focus on love. There's some hate too, of course. Like, I've seen awful, hateful things, right? Too. And I'm just trying to focus on the good and see the good. Because I think overall, the shift that we're experiencing is actually more light, more love, more Christ consciousness. I think it is. I absolutely 100% believe it is a planetary shift in consciousness. And it doesn't matter what someone's individual belief is, as long as they are directing themselves to something better and more loving for themselves and their path. So I think there's many paths to happiness, and more love. And I think people are really seeking that right now. And I think people are really being open and sharing and truthful. And I hope that it's not something that just phases out in a couple weeks. And I would encourage you to keep speaking up, not just this week. Keep speaking up, like make the change, speak up more, seek out more love, and question things, okay? If you're questioning God or religion or anything like that, question things. That's a good space to be in too. You know, even if you haven't found your answers yet, that's a beautiful part of the journey, and I commend you for being there if that's where you're at. Actually, I don't think we should ever stop asking questions. So, I've even had some shifts in my, like, the way I see things, this week that are just mind-blowing that I can't describe. If you've been feeling that way too, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear what you've been feeling and what's come up for you. And maybe it's confusion, maybe it's love and seeking. I think there is some confusion. It is very confusing how something tragic happens, and how do we explain that, like the evil of it. But then how can we not see the impact, the ripple effect, the greater good? How can something so sad lead to something massively good? Like, that is just crazy to me, right? And it has made me think a lot about like Jesus and the crucifixion, and just some things I've struggled with there in my own belief systems, the way things have been translated, because I think there's a lot of truth in the Bible, but I also think that it has been greatly misconstrued. And I think there have been people who have used the Bible as a weapon, not in a healthy way, not in a good way. And I think that is why a lot of people have God trauma and religious trauma. So that's a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother thing. I hope people, maybe they can take a second look and see and find the good in things. I made a video, I think it was I don't know how long ago, maybe 2 or 3 months ago, when I was sharing my perspective on a little bit more of like the Bible and Jesus, and just how I've really, really had this strong connection with Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene in my journey. And I think they've been amazing teachers to me and opened me up to my own heart and path and freedom, and that noticing that divine feminine, but also how we need the masculine. Like Jesus was the masculine, the divine masculine, fully embodied. He's an example of that. But this video, I don't even remember everything I said. And it's interesting because I've had so many shifts and aha moments and feelings this past week that I'm almost wanting to go back and watch my own video to see what has changed and grown for me since that video. Because I guarantee you there's things in that video I said that I probably wouldn't say quite the same now. I wouldn't say it's like a total, like, oh, that video was wrong, I'm going to take it down. Like, not that at all. It's more like an expansion of that video, like seeing things on a deeper level than what I said in that video. Because I was talking about the lost scripture of Mary Magdalene and how I think that's important. I was talking about the book Mary Magdalene Revealed by Meggan Watterson. And I really, really love that book. I still do. Like, that hasn't changed. I love how she shares the story of Mary Magdalene, and how women's voices were silenced and removed. And the Book of Mary is not in the Bible because it was removed by men many, many years ago. And luckily there were monks that saved some of the scripture and hid it I think there is like a page or a few pages missing. I can't remember the exact number. But just learning about that has changed my perspective on the Bible and religion and Jesus. But yeah, so something interesting that I've noticed with Jesus and religion was I grew up in a strict religious home, and I kind of always felt like this guilt or shame around not being good enough or being sinful, like that perfection, like I needed to be perfect. And that's something that leaving religion actually helped me with, because I left religion, and I did wasn't sure if I believed in God or not, or Jesus. Like I really just had a couple of years there where I was kind of a wanderer and didn't really believe in anything. But I think I needed that. Like I needed that. I needed to totally separate myself and then start over from scratch. And it's when I got sober that when I was 26, I got sober. And that's when I really sought out a higher power and started to have a connection with God again. And that was very, very healing for me. And then it wasn't until a few years later that I thought, I'm starting to wonder about Jesus again. Like, I just want to know, like, from a blank slate, what I believe about that, not what I believe because of how I was raised, because that kind of pulled me away. I just didn't like the way that version, I guess, I don't even know how to say it. So I wanted to revisit Jesus from like a blank slate to figure out what I believed in. And I think that's what a lot of people are feeling now. Like maybe someone watching, let me know in the comments, like have any of the events of this past week or even before that. I mean, you could be like me and it could have come up before that. Is it making you think, oh, could I take a look at this again from a blank slate or from a new perspective? Because really when it comes down to it, Jesus, he taught love. He taught love. He was an example of love. And I think one of the things I struggled with was the part about him saving us. That was kind of always like an odd thing, odd concept to me. Right? So that's something I've kind of had to look at again over the years. And I think in some ways he saved us by speaking up, by the word that he was spreading, by the example that he was setting, and he was crucified for it because of the truth he was speaking. And that also caused a ripple effect. His apostles and followers spread his word and shared his word. Unfortunately, I think there did come a time where it got used in the improper way. It got used as a way of control in certain religious aspects, not all. But I do think that's why maybe some people have a hard time with it, is it wasn't because of what Jesus taught or represented or what he stood for, but it's the way that man interpreted it and spread it and used it in the wrong way for many years. And that puts a lot of people off. But I think when you can come back to who Jesus actually was and what he represented and what he taught, it's a perspective shift. It's a shift in feeling. It's coming back to the root of love. And I think maybe that's what I'm seeing. I think I'm seeing people connect and share and seek that from a place of love instead of a place of control. And I do think we need to give people the space to come to their own conclusion. I think you should seek out what you feel led to seek out and pray and connect or meditate or spend time in nature or go to a church, whatever you're feeling called to. But I think you need to do it in your own way and find your own connection in your own way. I'm never going to be the person that says you have to do it a certain way or that you have to come to a certain conclusion. I just think it's good to ask questions and pray and connect on something if we feel led to. So I'm interested to see how things play out. I usually talk more about the astrological things, like my weekly energy update. And I've been feeling for a while now that's going to change a little bit. Like I want to change the title. I still like to touch on astrological transits as I see them to be fit and helpful for helping someone navigate the energy. But I am feeling like there's other things I need to share, and I'm still figuring out what that pivot is going to look like. It's interesting, about a week prior to last week, so let's see, the week of September 1st. I was meditating and connecting and just praying and asking, what is it I need to share? Like, what is it I need to speak up on? And the word that kept coming to me was truth. So I just find the timing of that to be like, whoa, the number one word that was coming to me of what I needed to pivot towards and share was truth. And I think it's not so much about me speaking my truth, like, yes, but encouraging people to find their own truth and connect to what truth means to them, and helping others to find their own truth and find their courage to speak up on it. So we'll see where that goes. I'm not going to put up the weekly energy update. This video will take place of that. And I don't even know if I want to call it that anymore. I just know I want to put out a weekly video that helps people. And I guess I'm finally feeling like video again, because for so long I just didn't have the capacity. It's like I just needed to do audio. And I finally feel that drive and motivation again, like it's time to do video again. So putting out a weekly video, keep an eye out for that. Give me a follow if you're not following already. And I'll share more in the weeks to come just about my own personal experience and navigating things. If you have topic requests, please put them in the comments. If there's something you're curious about, if you're new to me, in a gist, like things I've talked about and overcome in the past, would be sobriety, leaving religion, being able to find God again, being able to connect with Jesus again. I also do card readings. Like, I feel like there's a place for both, and there's a lot of people that would say there's not place for both. So if you don't feel like there's place for both, I'm probably not for you. I'm still going to pull some cards. I still think they're a fun tool to get messages and connect to energy. I think there's many ways to connect with God and the universe and energy. And I feel like we get signs every day. We get signs from numbers, from animals, from a song on the radio, right? So I'm open to cards, and I'm going to keep using them. I'll probably talk more about Jesus and Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene, because I feel like I'm supposed to speak up about them and what they represented with love and sovereignty and finding your own path. Not only being saved, but how do you save yourself? Truth, freedom, your soul path, your destiny. Those are the things that are really calling me to speak up on. So I guess that's all I have. A tiny, I'll mention astrology a bit here and there still, I'm sure. It's interesting that this all happened inside the eclipse portal. We had an eclipse on, when was that? Was that the 7th? Full moon eclipse. We're still in the eclipse portal. So I will mention, since there will not be another video this week that I know of, who knows, maybe I'll randomly decide to make another video, but we have the new moon eclipse. Is that what it is? I don't even know. I haven't even looked usually Sunday or Monday, I'm like looking at all the transits and researching and figuring out what I want to say, and I haven't even done that yet. I kind of wanted to make a video without any other outside information so that I could just share what was on my heart. All right, so I don't know a lot of details of the eclipse on the 21st, except for there is an eclipse of some kind, and it's new moon, which represents new beginnings. That's all I'm going to say, I think, for today. So thank you for watching. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. If you want to see what I share on next, make sure and give me a follow. Thank you for liking this video. That does help. Thank you for putting a kind comment in the comments, because I need those. I need that encouragement to keep going. All right. Love you all. Speak up on something this week, and take care.